Hey, everybody. This is a continuation of my series on the constitutions of the various states and the federal government. I left off at number 11, but I skipped number 10 because I'm learning this stuff as I go along, although I've learned it in the past also. Anyway, number 10, Constitution of the State of Alabama. And these are in all the state constitutions. You're just going to have to look and find out how they're worded and where they are located in the different state constitutions. But this one says, number 10, that no person shall be barred from prosecuting or defending before any tribunal in this state by himself or counsel in any civil cause to which he is a party. So what that means is these rules are for the government. They're not for the people. So their rule is they cannot bar you from prosecuting a civil case in any tribunal, i.e. court, in the state. And notice it says counsel, okay? You can counsel, you can be somebody's counsel. It doesn't say you have to be a bar licensed lawyer or attorney. It just says you have the right to counsel. That means somebody who is knowledgeable in the law, basically. And they can't deny that. If they do, they can be held liable. And later on, there's a lot of things I have to cover before I get into filing motions and claims against police officers and judges and prosecutors. So that's what I'm doing now. And then we get back, I think I've mentioned this before, number 13, this is the this is a whole ball of wax right here. 13, it says that all courts shall be open and that every person for any injury done him in his lands, goods, person, or reputation shall have a remedy by due process of law, and right and justice shall be administered without sale, means they can't charge you for it, denial, they can't deny you, or delay. They can't do any of those. These are rules of the government, okay? So the definition of injury, and there's some people that think you can't use these terms, but in fact, the definition of injury is harm or loss. So that's every person for any injury, harm, or loss done him or her in his lands, goods, person, or reputation shall that means they shall have a remedy by due process of law, and right and justice shall be administered without sale, denial, or delay. So they can't deny you if you're injured in your person, which that would be assault and battery with a deadly weapon. If a cop touches you without your permission, that's the definition of assault and battery, okay? Unlawful detainment. If they detain you for any amount of time, that's unlawful. That's unlawful detainment. They are unlawfully detaining you for a fucking traffic offense. Really? That's their bread and butter. That's how they make money. And I mentioned before, they're all corporations, for-profit corporations. The federal government defines itself as a federal corporation. The states are a corporation. The counties and municipalities and cities and towns, they're all defined in their own laws, and I went over that earlier, as corporate bodies. And that's how they get you. They made you a corporation. In turn, you are a corporate body. If you go into court as a defendant or plaintiff, judge, prosecutor, those are all titles. I covered that briefly before. So if you go in into court as a man or woman, you have all the power. And you have to tell these people that. I brought this up before a judge a couple of months ago, but the prosecutor wasn't there. But when I mentioned this section 13, that all courts shall be open, I quoted it, and his eyes got bigger. He knew exactly what I was talking about, and he knew what he was doing is unlawful and it's fraud. So I've got some cases coming up later on in October where I'm gonna start calling these motherfuckers out. I'm sick of them. And then if you'll, number 20 says that no person shall be imprisoned for debt, period. So what does that mean? It says you can't go to jail because you owe a fucking traffic fine. Debt is debt. You know, they'll try to get around that, saying, "Oh, he's in contempt of court." Well, you're in contempt of court, judge. What you're doing is illegal. And you know, I'm going to have to keep my temper down. And when I'm talking to these judges and just kind of talk like I am to you, and usually what helps me the most is I ask my higher self, God, the Creator, my spirit guide, you know, angels, whatever, before I go into the courtroom, I say, God, please guide my words, thoughts, and actions, and help me keep calm. And I'm amazed at what happens when I do that. So, Section 35 states that the sole object and only legitimate end of government is to protect the citizen in the enjoyment of life, liberty, and property. Period. And when the government assumes other functions, it is usurpation and oppression. Period. Usurpation is defined as illegal. So any function other than to protect the citizen in the enjoyment of life, liberty, and property is illegal, and they can be held accountable because the courts are ours. The 36, that this enumeration of certain rights shall not impair or deny others retained by the people, and to guard against the encroachments on the rights herein retained, the rights of government. We declare everything in this Declaration of Rights is accepted out of the general powers of government and shall remain forever inviolate, which means unchangeable. So they're telling you these laws are the powers of the government and are unchangeable. Talk later.